No matter where I go, victory is mine. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. The Lord has provided more than enough, no matter where I go. Oh, victory is mine. The brain is strong, joy overflowing. Hey sis, how are you? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. In the midst of enemies, I praise. In the midst of enemies, I praise. I praise. Put on my dancing shoes, and the one that I can lose. I'll be the last one standing. I'll be the last one standing. Hey, the Lord is my power, a shield for me. No matter where I go, oh, victory, victory is mine. All right. Hello, I guess she's here. Hi, Shum. Hello, Bimbo. Hi. Hello, Chiaka. So good to see you. Hello. Not today. Not today. This network must be it in Jesus' name. Oh my God. Chiaka, can you hear me? I can see you, but I think your network is. Whew. Oh goodness. Hello, people. Okay, so let's just keep it going. Hello, people. Welcome. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. And welcome to Real Talk with Odun. My name is Odun Akerele. And yes, so Holy Ghost fire, serious Holy Ghost fire new. Because that's what Nigerian network needs for now. So hopefully she's able to come back. Anyway, what is Real Talk with Odun? Real Talk with Odun is a show for women by a woman. All right, it's a show where we come and talk about everything that affects us as a woman. We talk about our spiritual life, our spiritual growth, our health, our businesses, our marriages, and our children, everything that concerns us. And today's topic is, okay, she's back. Hi.
I apologize.
It's not you. We understand how funny network can be.
So I think I didn't put my primary network in, but now I should be fine.
Oh, okay. So good to see your face.
Good to see you. It's been a while. How are you doing? Thank you for having me.
Hello, Trendy T. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining. Okay, so it's I think it's 2 o'clock now. Yeah. It's 8 o'clock and it's time for us to go. And I was trying to introduce the show the other time. I'm saying it's a show for women by women. Yes, our guest is always on time. So she's here. She arrived on time. So today, what we'll be talking about today is, okay, let me just give you a bit of a background story on how I arrived on this topic. So I was having a conversation with a friend few weeks ago, and she made a statement. She said most times that we don't think about our yesterday, and we don't think how that yesterday can affect our today. We just think that it's over and it's done with. Like, this thing happened to me yesterday, that's it. But somehow that thing that happened to us yesterday shaped us today, made us who and are today. But because we just think that that was when I was 18 years, or that was when I was 16. And so now I'm in my 30s, I'm in my 40s. We don't even remember them. So because we don't remember them, we don't know it's affecting us now. That was why I was not like, okay, yeah, so could it be traumatic? Would we have had some traumatic experiences that made us into what we are now in our various relationships? Now, this is not just marriage, because whatever you bring from your yesterday can affect every part of your life. You know, it might just be not be marriage, just your relationship. It might be the way you do things. It might be why you eat what you're eating. It might be why you use a certain perfume. For me, there is a story attached to why I can't touch a certain perfume. You know, so those are things that we just don't think about, and we just think it's normal. It's just me. I just like it. No, something shaped it. Something made you like it. Something made you not to like it. So today we'll be talking about trauma, and we'll be talking about it in relation to our relationships. How does it affect our relationships? How does it affect our marriages? How does it affect the way I deal with my spouse and my children, actually? Because even your parenting style could actually be from your experiences, what you experience. It could be good or bad, you know. So today we'll be talking about that, and we have 45 minutes, maximum of 45 minutes to do that. And with me to do that is, we chatted this morning, and she said something that struck. She said trauma is a topic that a lot of people don't want to talk about, and they are going through it. You might not be able to put your finger on it, basically, but people are going through it. And especially in the Christian community, why we shy away from talking about certain things. We want to be holy. We want to paint this picture like my life has been perfect all along. It's very, very difficult for people to open up and talk about what they've been through. So Chiaka is not a stranger to us. And you know how Chiaka and how Chiaka can be. In fact, when we posted the flyer, Mama added to social for where I came and said, whoa, Chiaka is coming, this will be hot. We've had her on a show a few times, and I can assure you she's been a blessing to us. It's been wonderful, wonderful session. To gist with her is so effortless, and she's so spirit-filled. So with Jesus' joy, we welcome Chiaka to talk with Odun again. She's like a family now. Why are we welcoming you, Chiaka?
Welcome back. Now, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Good evening. Thank you so much. Or good afternoon for you. Good evening for me. Please confirm that you can hear me clearly.
Yes, I can hear you,
okay.
And I hope they can hear you. I can hear and I can see you.
Oh, fantastic.
So
thank you. Good evening. Good evening.
To let them know, to let us know if you can hear both of us. And please, I'm not seeing our regular people. Trendy if you can please let them know we are on. Ame, I saw you come on briefly. Please let people know we are on, so we can get this rolling. Okay, so Chiaka, just give us a brief introduction about yourself.
Okay, my name is Chiaka. I am, what am I? I think the most important thing about me is that I love Jesus first. And I'm very passionate about marriages and relationships. I've been this way for most of my life, even since I was small, before I knew what to call it. And then I'm married to the absolute love of my life. We're raising 3 daughters together. I'm marriage and relationship coach, and I'm also a professional in the energy industry. So I just couple lots of things together.
Like the superwoman that you are.
I'm not a superwoman, no.
Yes, so you are. We don't want to be going backwards. We know the things you've told us. We know how strong you are, and we bless God for the strength in you. He's a strength in you, actually.
Yes, thank you.
So, yeah. So, can you move back a bit so that we can see your whole face? I don't know if you are too far or too close. I really don't. Yes, exactly. Better.
That better? Okay, that's better.
Better. Okay, so can you just go? Let's go into it. Can you just tell us what your own definition of trauma is?
Okay, so I will give you the dictionary definition. Then I will tell you the biggest danger that we face from trauma, especially Christians, because you've pointed that out. So trauma is something deeply distressing or deeply disturbing that leaves an imprint. So trauma doesn't just go away, like you said. Trauma leaves an imprint on your soul. Trauma is something disturbing and distressing that leaves an imprint on your soul, right? It doesn't just go away. Now let me tell you the danger of trauma. Ideally, if we knew what trauma was, if we recognized the pointers that we were affected by trauma, and I don't think that anybody is unscathed. What that means is that you may have trauma in one area. For example, I realized a few years ago that I had issues with security. I needed to live in a place that was extremely secure, like gated estates, or I started to panic. I didn't know that when I was a much younger child, there was a robbery incident on my street,
Wow.
but the robbers did not get in. So in my adult mind, I couldn't link that. I wanted to feel safe. And we lived in a story building. So my siblings, everybody came upstairs. It was a newly built house. My dad had just built his house. So I also felt safer living upstairs. I didn't like bungalows or living on down flats. It made me feel insecure. And I didn't even know why. I was like, I don't like that. Can I live upstairs? When I was old enough to rent it, I was like, can we live upstairs? Like, why? I just want to live upstairs. I just feel safer. So trauma doesn't leave you unscathed. Now, this is the biggest danger we face. So people, instead of seeking help to heal from their trauma, I'll say this and I'll still say it again. They have created housing to house their trauma. When trauma is housed, pampered, petted, and fed, trauma breeds dysfunction. Now, when people have housed their trauma, fed it properly, dysfunction is born. Now, not only do they walk in dysfunction, they normalize dysfunction. Then, here's the Christianist part. They create a working template to show others how to effectively work dysfunctionally.
Yeah.
So now people are teaching from their dysfunction, they are preaching from their trauma, they are counseling from their trauma. So you hear things like, you just, for peace to reign, don't bring up the fact that he's cheating. This is trauma that has been housed, fed, pampered, has grown fat, or it has become a dysfunction template. And people are reproducing after its kind.
It's normal. I mean? It's normal. And the people that made it normal,
yes,
it's because of what that's wow.
So in the context of the very religious setting, when you hear things like, men don't apologize, women are emotional, those are also not really sensible things. If you think about it for a little bit, we know that it's not really sensible. Is that people have, over time, been exposure to trauma because they didn't know what it was or what to do with it. They housed and petted it. They started to work in dysfunction. Normalize that dysfunction. Now they have a working template. Oh, this is what you do, how to manage dysfunction. No, you drive dysfunction out. You heal from trauma, then you drive out dysfunctional system so the light can shine. There's an old Beauty and Beast cartoon, not this new one, the really old one. So when Belle is talking to the beast, she says to him, step into the lights. That's healing. Step into the lights. Let me see you. So trauma has so many, just multifaceted. So let me say that again. What has happened and continues to happen is that when people experience trauma, they don't proceed to heal from it. They pepper and pamper it. They prim it. They give it food. Outflowing from that trauma is dysfunction. Then they normalize that dysfunction. They have a working template. So this person is teaching, for example, how to have sex in marriage. And they are teaching from their trauma and dysfunction. They say things like, just do it, sir, because it's your work. Just do it. And the untraumatized people in this light are wondering what's wrong with you. And they don't know that something is wrong with them. They honestly don't know. They think they are normal. They haven't stepped into the light.
Even if you tell them, they are going to argue with you because they've been so programmed to think they are right. They've been so programmed to believe that what you are telling them is the wrong thing. And it's from a place that they cannot really explain. See, let's just go on so we don't get carried away with this thing. But, I see a comment of someone saying, I wish the live videos could have subtitles. I know you told me what your challenges are. I don't think we can do that on Instagram, but I'll post it later on YouTube. I think YouTube, you can have subtitles on YouTube. So I'll post this later and then you can catch up. And I appreciate the fact that you're here. Thank you. That's very sacrificial and thoughtful of you to be here. So let's talk. You mentioned something. You talked about disconnect, right? When you were talking. So when we're talking about disconnection in a marriage, what do you think could it be trauma or could it be anger? I know I'm trying to phrase this thing in a way that at times people will say it's because of the way my spouse treated me over time. That is why now I'm not emotionally connected, or I'm not, we are not, I don't know, he pushed me, he kept pushing me, or she kept pushing me, and then now I just really don't care anymore. So could that be that they picked up that trauma cause of that, or could it be from their childhood? Or how does it start? Emotional disconnection. How does it start?
Things really just happen. The same way that plants have to grow from the ground up. Plants don't grow from the sky down. It's the same way you say, the way that my spouse is, it is what is making me the way that I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I posted something on my Facebook 2 days ago. I said, the reason why some people don't do pre-marriage counseling is that they are afraid of difficult questions.
Mm-hmm.
You see, counseling I did, not the religious thing we do in church. Some churches get it, but very few. Is actually is mental and emotional X-ray, where you see yourself, you see your partner, then determine whether you should even go forward. Then you now create a template for going forward if you should go forward. It's not something that the average person can take responsibility for. Now, let me tell you that the things that your spouse does are not, they don't prop up.
Mm-hmm.
We love to say that if you plant mangoes, oranges will grow. It's not true. So who you marry first is a high reflection of your emotional, mental, and spiritual state at that time. Let's say you married a verbally abusive spouse, right? This woman is always cursing me, abusing me, insulting me. Two things happened. Either you didn't give the relationship enough time to know who she was, or you saw the red flags and said, how bad can it be? Now, those two things, whether your impatience not to know or you ignoring it when you saw it, is indication that the dysfunction has already sat inside you ever before that marriage. Because we only experience what we allow to a large extent. And I've been counseling people for a few years. And believe me, I say to myself, especially when I counsel women, that this thing that happened to you, it cannot happen to me. Because in that area of my life, I can't permit it. I cannot permit that kind of thing. It's not possible. So we need to go back to the root cause. And if you take your spouse out of that equation, and which is why statistically, second marriages have a significantly higher rate of divorce than first marriage because people are not learning their lessons. They are not. You see, if second marriage will work, then people have to de-traumatize. That's not a real word. They have to de-traumatize themselves.
Yeah.
So the reason that you are there, we need to examine the person is inside there first. Now, can people change? Yes. Slowly over time. And the person in the marriage will be seeing it as they are changing. As they are changing, they will be checking it in tandem. You see, the first thing your spouse, let's assume in a perfect world, which is rare, your spouse was never verbally abusive. Almost impossible. The first day that your spouse says you are a stupid man, and you responded with you are a stupid woman, you are equal and opposite and are fitted to other. If you have responded by saying you will not speak to me in that way, okay? And every time you try to speak to me in that way, I will disconnect from you. I will leave that, because disrespect is not something that I tolerate. I'm created in God's image. You don't get to disrespect me. If you're not listening, we will go in for counseling. We will check this. You know, I hear things that people speak to their spouses anyhow. Are you joking? You can't talk to me like that. You can't. So at what time did he linger to the fact where you have children, and in front of your children, your husband is calling you a harlot? How did he get? Where were we? When we were on that road till we got to that place? How did we get there? Like, which road? Was it Third Mainland Bridge? Where were we going that we got to the place? No alarm was raised. Of course, people are getting nonsense counseling. Like, don't worry, that's how
we change.
No.
We change. Don't worry. Maybe you did something. That's one other thing. They guilt trip you, and maybe it's you. Maybe it's because I see what
you see. Even the ability to collect gaslighting means that your soul is not whole. There has to be a crack.
Yeah.
If you like pour water on steel, it won't seep through. You have to be sand for something to seep through. For example, if you tell me now that I don't have integrity concerning money, you are a liar. There's nothing you can say to flip it on me that in all my years of existence, you tell me I'm a thief. I've never stolen anything before. Do you understand?
I
So,
get it.
so someone come and tell you that, do you are a drug addict? I saw you smoking cocaine. They can't gaslight you like that.
Where is that
There's
from?
no way. It's not possible. So, in the same way, you have to have an internal clock, which is called your value system, rooted in who God says that you are. Now, anything that is diametrically opposed to it is coming at you. It's already receiving the fire. So you can't even be in a place that I had a friend whose boyfriend was verbally abusive once. He was verbally abusive once. That was the only time he got the opportunity.
Wow.
She even let it, before he has even landed, the breakup had already happened. She's happily married for about 10 years now. You see, such people like that are not in relationship where they will not be abusing them, because the moment the guy dropped, the shoe dropped, she was already out of the door. Like, bye. I feel like she didn't like this guy. She didn't like you. No. For the long run, this nothing. So who we are, what we can. Now, we're not responsible for what the other person does. You can't take that responsibility.
Not. You're only responsible.
You are responsible for what you allow in your space.
Yes.
The same way I cannot allow a snake into my room, I don't allow some things in my territory. Yes, even from your spouse, you need boundaries. You know, there are spouses who, even if I'm tempted to do something to my spouse, when I remember who he is, I'll just swallow it. How? Are you joking? No, you can't play like that. We don't play like that in our house. We don't. There are some things we don't say. We don't do.
Wow. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I hope you guys are learning. Thank you for everyone that joined. I saw my big sister came and I hope she's still there. But thank you for joining. Thank you, Aki Mutsimi Olusomo. I don't want to bother anybody's name, but thank you, everyone. God bless you. So thank you so much, Chiaka, for that. There's a lot to unpack in what you just said. And the one I like most is the fact that I cannot be responsible. There's something my brother-in-law is fond of saying. If you use the word, I think you said this, it will tell you I'm not responsible for what you think. So it means I am responsible for my own thoughts. I'm responsible for my own action. And nobody can make me into something I am not.
That's right.
I hope we are getting that. That's basically the cross of this thing. It's not, I'm emotionally disconnected because he kept pushing me away. There's more to it than that. Nobody can make you, see, I'm not the guest. Let's keep it going. So let's talk about triggers. At times someone will say that, okay, I remember growing up, my dad would be so angry that my dad would not eat, and my mom would beg, and beg. And so now that I'm married, I cannot beg my husband to eat. So are we saying that these things, when we use the word triggers, personally, I think if you have triggers like that, you didn't heal before you get into that relationship. That's just my own thoughts. Anyway, but let's talk about triggers. Do we have triggers? Do we have things in marriages that brings back this trauma, these things that we've experienced or that we've gone through?
Okay. So I like to watch action films where you have RPGs, guns, grenades, all this kind of stuff. Fun stuff. But if you hold a grenade, all you do is pull a pin. I mean, that looks harmless. Pull a pin and bang, a big explosion. That is what a trigger is. Something seemingly harmless. It shouldn't, in a normal world, cause problems. But a trigger is something little that you push. Can you hear me, please? Because it seems like, is it my network or your network? I'm not sure.
No, we can hear you. We can see you.
Okay,
yeah.
Fantastic. A trigger is something you push, you tweak, you pull, and it shouldn't matter. But then it creates this domino effect that becomes an avalanche of chaos. And you're wondering, what did I do? What did I say? What has happened? Let me give you an example. When I was going to get married, maybe almost 13 years ago, I was sitting with a friend or an acquaintance at that time. And my fiancé, who is now my husband, called me. We were talking about wedding preparations. And I said to him on the phone, I said, see, this thing you're talking, I know I'm not supposed to marry you. I should have just married Dangote's son. That can just dash me 50 million. So I said that and I started laughing. As I started laughing, he was laughing. And then we cut the phone. I turned to the lady beside me. She looked like she was having a convulsive fit. She said, "What did you say?" I said, "No, I told my fiance that if he doesn't behave himself, I will marry Dangote who can just dash." And now this 12 or 13 years ago, 12, 50 million, 50 million now, a big one. 50 million there was like, you can just dash me 50 million. She was like, "Why did you say that?" I said to her, I said, "I'm just joking." She said that she can't say that to her husband. Now, she was also a new bride that had been married for less than 6 months. I was taken aback. Now, this is young me about to be married. I didn't know that people were easily triggered, at least that easily triggered. She said, she cannot play with him like that he will be offended. Why would my fiancé be offended? I didn't have the 50 million. How can I abuse him for not having 50 million? Why do I not have it? So, because that is not a trigger point for me. I don't mean I don't have my own trigger points, right? So a trigger is something. It's what unleashes our insecurities. It's what unleashes our insecurities. If I think that these my glasses, I don't like them. Let's say I secretly don't like them. If you tease me and say, "What kind of ugly glasses are these?" it will pain me. Or say, "Your glasses kind of look funny." It may be a joke to you, but it will pain me. I have been triggered about my body size, for example, when I was secondary school. I was so skinny. I was so skinny. I don't even know how skinny I was. So I made this new uniform. My mother made a uniform for me, JS2 or JS3, I can't remember. And I proudly wore my uniform. Up was big, down was small with my little legs. And I went to school. I don't know how many of us are old enough to remember Johnny Bravo cartoon. The Johnny Bravo with big chest and small leg. So 2 of my colleagues, my classmates saw me. And they started laughing. They said, "Chaka looks like Johnny Bravo." And it pained me. It pained me so much because I also was very self-conscious about the fact that I was very skinny. So I went off and told my big sister. I said, "Well, they say I look like Johnny Bravo." My sister, who was in SS2, SS3 at that time, said, "Who said that?" I told her the names. She said, "Chaka, are you normal?" I said, "Why?" She said, "The first person that told you look like Johnny Bravo has a bent back. The second person has crossed eyes. And you are letting them abuse you." I said, "You would have told me in time." So what I'm saying is that I was a slim 12 or 13-year-old. No big deal. Everybody's awkward at 12 and 13. But because it was a pinch point for me, so much that I confessed to my sister that I was ashamed to raise my hand in church when we were watching because I thought my hand was too skinny. Can you imagine? So anytime you talked about my weight, I would lash out. Well, no, I didn't even added more weight. Even if you abuse me, somebody abused me, said, "Chaka, you added so much." I said, "Yes, so Tinubu economy is favoring me." But it's not a pressure point for me. You cannot stress me again. You can't. The way you adding weight is enjoyment. Come and beat me. But it wasn't like that a few years ago. So triggers are what unleash our securities. And we need to search for our triggers because they are very enlightening. They show us the things that don't make us feel whole. The things that want to hide. Those things. We need to look out for them.
Wow. Thank you so much. So before we move to the next one, I just need to ask, does everyone has things that triggers them? Is this across board? Or do we have people that really doesn't? Because when you were talking, you said now, whatever anybody said, really, like, you just, like that too. If you tell me, "You're looking good today," thank you. "Oh, you're not looking so good today." You know, anything is, I'm good to flip it and turn it into something we'll laugh about and just, keep it moving. I'll be like, "Oh, really? I'm moving forward with my Yoruba." I'll be like, "Oh, no, that's not." I'll just like deflect it. But is it that everyone has something that triggers them? Is there something that trigger you now?
Yes. I think everybody can have. Now, they may be except. I don't know if anybody has that kind of wholeness in this fallen world.
Yeah.
I say that to say that I'm one of the weird people born in our generation, raised in Nigeria, 2 parents, daddy loves mommy, mommy loves daddy, both of them love Jesus. There was no, all the people say that happens our family. Our head was correct. Somebody told me that in every family there's sibling rivalry. I looked at her. I said, my mother has 6 children. There's no sibling rivalry. She was shocked. I said, we don't have sibling rivalry. But even I will have triggers. So I don't know. Maybe they have. I've not met them. Maybe they don't just know. Maybe as you grow, right? I have less triggers now than I used to before. I have less triggers now. As I grow, I mature mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. My triggers seem to follow. Because even now, you're telling me, do I have triggers? I'm thinking that at this point, the things that used to piss me off a few years ago, I've taken my power back from them. I don't give them that power anymore. Right? Wow. I don't give them that power anymore.
All right. Thank you so much. So you mentioned something about you being conscious of security. And so I want us to talk about how trauma can make you. Should we still talk about it? Because I think you somehow talked about it.
Oh sure.
How trauma can make you feel insecure, even with your spouse. Okay, I think that it's better. Even with your spouse, you might actually, insecurity is not just gated, living in a gated community. So can trauma make you feel insecure with your spouse? Now, insecurity means you are not being really vulnerable to each other, right? Maybe there's something that happened when you were growing up that make you say, okay, I cannot really talk about this issue. So can that be a cause of trauma? Can trauma make you feel insecure with your spouse?
Absolutely. Trauma, psychologists say, let me start here, that our brains are wired for connection. When you experience trauma that makes grooves in your brain, it rewires your brain for protection. We are ideally designed by God for connection. Trauma can rewire our brain for protection. That's where insecurity is. Everybody is protecting that. And this one is just like, ideally, if I hold your, it hurts you. You've got a wound here. When I want to shake you, it's not of you to connect your hand behind you. That's what is secure. You have switched from connection to protection. If you reach out your hand, I should also reach out and shake you. If I pull back my hand instinctively, it means that my default is to protect myself, not to connect with you. As such, trauma has the ability to rob a person of the ability to truly connect with their spouse. So they can be in a relationship and they will hold themselves back. Now, if the Bible says naked and not ashamed, it's serious business. Not all parts. Now, let's talk about insecurity. No matter how you are, not all parts of our nakedness are pretty. Do you understand?
Especially,
for example, now you see this my tummy. How do you know I'm about to go to that tummy? Because normally I should have a flat tummy in my spirit, but my real body, it doesn't have flat tummy. So now we have insecurities. We can talk about my non-flat tummy as one of my insecurities. Come close and we our advice myself, check and remove this clothes. Don't disgrace our ancestors. Remove it. So insecurity is the fact that our brains, rather than connecting with this person we say we love, we are in protection mode. We're in flight or fight response. So we do things like, let's hide the money. But I can never truly trust a woman. Let's hide the money. Because a man's money is for us, but a woman's money is for her. And we can't be vulnerable. Can you imagine? Ask somebody, do you know your spouse's weakness? They are confused. They don't know. They don't know. So you're struggling at work, you're struggling in your business, and you can't tell the person closest to you, I am afraid, I am tired, I am weary, I am excited, I got a huge bonus, I'm attracted to my boss, I'm about to have an emotional affair, I need help, pray for me, I'm drinking again. No, you are alone. Because you are in protection mode. And that is where you are most vulnerable, even when you're not being vulnerable. You are a sitting duck, believe me, for life, Satan to take you out. Because nobody has got your back. You are too busy hiding your wounds you will not show it. So the wound is festering and getting infected and oozing pores. But if you had shown it to the right person, they would help you to clean your wounds, expose it to the fresh air, bandage it, put soothing ointment, and then your healing will come. This is big. This is big. This is how people say, oh, church hurt. I've been born again for 26 years, and I just had a couple of experiences, and I walked into a church, and I couldn't connect. I just couldn't. I was afraid. Like literally, for most of my life, I followed Jesus, but I was afraid.
Yeah.
And me, that is telling you this story, they have to start counseling me. Chapter, try. Okay, join our fellowship. Small. Not everybody. Try. You can do it again. You can trust again. Try. Not everybody is the body. Don't worry. Once you see that in your marriage, in your friendships, I'm not talking about your co-worker, just business as usual, or your employees. I'm talking about people who should have some intimacy with you. That your default is to protect yourself rather than to connect with them. You are in trouble already, and you need help. I do not.
If your
think
default
that
is to protect yourself rather than connect, you are in trouble. I need someone to please type that out. If your default setting is to protect yourself rather than connecting, then you are in trouble. Wow. Go on.
So insecurity is so big because it's what because it is what shows reveals the deepest and the hardest consequence of trauma, which is one single word: fear. Crippling, debilitating fear. Now fear is a trickster. Fear shows up masters anger. Fear pretends to be cultural conditioning. Fear pretends to be religious sentiments. Fear pretends to be jealousy. Is good old fear. I can't allow like somebody said that he doesn't want her husband to get that bigger job because he doesn't know whether when he gets that bigger place, whether those people will like him. Why? Because when her father started to prosper, by some means she's suspected as diabolic, he was killed in his prime. Now she's afraid for her husband to prosper because she doesn't know whether somebody will kill him. Are you saying?
Wow.
That at the roots, she's acting spiritual. She said, no, maybe if he doesn't get that big business, it's not the will of God. What she means is that it is fear. And let me tell you, a big sister said this with me. She said, every time my husband wants to make a road trip to go see his parents out of state, she was always very upset. She said, don't go, please, don't go. Why you must you travel? So one day he said to her, he was going to go. She started becoming a normal frantic self. She was frantic. And she said to him, my wife, I will go and come. I'm not your father. I will not die.
Wow.
She said that's when he hit her.
That
my father died by road accident. When it hit her that her father died by road accident, whenever her husband got on the road, she went into fight or flight mode. Fear. And that is the roots that fear does. Whether it is emotional detachment, the reason why you disconnect is to protect yourself now, because you have been hurt so many times. You don't want to connect and get hurt again now. You say, somebody is emotionally available. No, the person cannot even release their emotion, so they have locked it up and thrown away the key. You say, something is triggering you. Your fear response is triggering fight or flight. Your insecurity is by fear of abandonment. Anything underneath trauma is very deep-seated fear. And fear is of the devil. Fear has torment. Fear has torment.
Wow.
People in church praying. Look at the whole contract business of prayer contractors and false prophets. They leverage on fear. They come and tell you all the firstborns come out. If your firstborn doesn't come out before July 14th, they will die. It's fear mongering. They are
praying.
Wow. So at the root of it is fear.
It's actually a whole lot to deal with and to actually talk about. And I see some people saying that you can't really understand it if you've not been traumatized. And at times we think trauma should be something big and out shattering, like a rape, or like you growing up in a divorced home. But at times it could actually be the minutest of things that is traumatizing someone. Like Chiaka just said about her, she was 13 when her classmate was telling her that she's skinny, she looks like Johnny Bravo, or what is it? She was 13. So to some people that would be like a hair, so it's not that deep. So I don't think there is someone that doesn't have a certain kind of trauma. It might not just be as huge as yours is, as mine is, as the next person is. So when we're saying that if you've not been traumatized, you might not understand, I think the gravity might differ. All right. So I want to go back to something you said about the body. You know, for women, some women we've had these stories multiple times. I'm sure you've heard about it as well, of how their body changes after they give birth, and then their spouses are not like, oh, now you're too fat, oh, now you're too big, oh, your tummy is flabby, or you're not even pretty anymore, you're not the fine girl I married, you know. And so could those set of people, could they graduate to a place where they are now bitter towards, I need you to understand this question very well, because I was thinking about it when you were talking. Could they now graduate to a place where they are bitter against their spouse, and not just their spouses, but to people, and then now start becoming too conscious of their own body? Could that be? Now, they were not like that before they had the children, or before they got married, or before whatever happened. So now, could we say that, you know, you said something about it meeting something, maybe something from their childhood, but this was not from their childhood. This was maybe constant hearing word of your tummy is too big, you're ugly now, you're this, you're that, you're this. So is that a possibility? I'm just trying to think that could
that's more common than you think. It's an absolute possibility, and it's more common than you think. The reason it's more common is, first, even a beauty queen, and I say this very seriously, even Miss World, Miss Universe, is not 100% sure of her body. Yes. So let's first say that one. That, see, we have confessed now that is my big tummy now. See, we have confessed together that I spiritually have a flat tummy, but physically, it's far away from flat, far. Now, I have not met a woman, I don't know, there may be that likes every single thing on her body. You see? Because unfortunately, we've grown up in a world that is so big on physical beauty that whether or not you even grow up as a tomboy like me, you will see here, you see my face and no makeup and all those, it's fine. But for some reason, this flat tummy, I'm afraid about it. I've dieted. I've done exercise. The thing does not have, the tummy has coconut head. I don't know. So, what I'm telling you this is, it's very common for women, because too many women, including myself, already have body insecurities. So if you meet a woman that's 100% confident in her body, it will shake her, not talk of the ordinary me that is already has something I'm insecure about. So this case you have said, it is so common, because if they didn't tell you are too skinny. I remember one day, I was maybe about that same 13 years, so a lot of things happened. Somebody said to me, somebody I loved and respected, I went to church, to teenage church, and she said to me, Chaka, can you do me a favor this Christmas and give me a present? I said, favor? What kind of favor? She said, please add weight. Do you know that something in me that day felt like he died? And I went home and I told my mother. My mother talked and talked. Chaka, you are just a normal slim teenager. Nothing is wrong with your body. At this time, I was already born again, sis. So it's not as if I didn't even have the Holy Ghost. I was born again. I was born in the Holy Ghost. I'm praying in tongues. But you see, that one was still able to get through my defenses. My mother was talking. She said, Chaka, you will grow older. You will have babies. You will run from fatness. So I didn't believe her. See me now. She'll be like, you don't let people make you feel bad. But that was what I considered an authority figure. And she said to me, just do me a favor. Try and add weight. You are too slim. You don't tell a 13 or 14-year-old that. There's no reason. My mother tried to do damage control. She did her best to do damage control. but I took it personal. And I started avoiding the lady.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been, I wasn't thinking about it that way because, most of the times we just think that it's a situation that made us this way.
See the way
And at
I'm talking
times,
about my big tummy now. Imagine my Mr. start abusing my tummy. I won't find it funny now. Why I don't like the big tummy?
it's deeper than that. Thank you so much. So I know we should have been rounding up. It's a deep topic. It's a deep thing to talk about. But I'm going to try. Maybe we'll extend it to an hour. But I want us to talk about the fear of abandonment, right? I know we can actually link to insecurity, but this show has given me the opportunity to really talk to women that will just, inbox me or ask me to please send me their number, and they'll just open up. And one thing I'm realizing is a lot of women have this fear of abandonment. Could that be? And ironically, these people are the question I'll ask: were you raised in a divorce? Things like that you would think, and it's no, they were not. They grew up in a normal functioning family. So can you please address this fear of abandonment? Where do you thought they've been cheated on? Maybe their first relationship. I don't know. I'm just trying to So can we talk about how? Yeah, go on.
A person can be abandoned physically. A person can be abandoned emotionally. A person can be rejected. A person can lose a loved one. All of them will trigger fear of abandonment. I woke up one morning, young girl, love Jesus, my family, and I asked a question. I said, "Where's Daddy?" "Oh, Daddy said he went to the hospital." I said, "Where is Daddy?" I asked from morning till evening. They kept just telling me nonsense. That night, they said, "Chaka, Daddy's dead." I lost it. But then I carried on with life. And it was fine. Then I got married. I realized that my father had some underlying health issues triggered by stress that had killed him in his prime. I married a man whom I love. He loves me, who has impeccable work ethic, but does not know how to rest. It triggered me.
Yeah.
I started to throw tantrums. Why won't you rest? Because I don't want to wake up one day and not see you like my. See, so that one is now not your fault. I'm not trying to show that there's a plethora of things that can cause. If you wake up and the person that said they will be there, by no fault of theirs, evil, is not there, it will sit in your spirit. Now, the worst thing about my father dying was not that he died, which was terrible because of the great dad. It was what he did to my mother. My mother died. The only thing he did not do was to enter the grave with him. Like I told you, I was not raised in a normal African family. I was raised in a real, correct, daddy loves mommy loves daddy, they love Jesus kind of thing. So my mother, she mentally crawled into the grave and buried herself.
Wow.
So that nothing in my life has messed me up, has messed up my head. But when people say trauma, I can't relate to the rest of it. This is the only trauma that I know that this one is, I carried it literally all my life. I started to project. My mom started to wonder, what did I do? Why are you harassing me? Please rest. Don't drive. The time was writing exams back to back. I told him that the only reason that I will agree is if he agrees he will not drive. In this Lagos, he will not drive. You must hire a driver. I will be harassing him. So one day, he drove home without his driver. He sent his driver away and gave him transport money that he wanted to drive. Reason being, his colleagues wanted to follow him. Now, he had been up most of the night reading. Decided to drive from VI to our house so that he could help his colleagues and carry them. Sister, although I lost it.
Wow.
You need to see the way that was vibrating. Like, I ask myself, did this man kill you? What did he do? It's not your daddy. Calm down. So fear of abandonment is very serious. It's very serious. It's the most one of the most bewildering things. People have lost best friends, schoolmates, cousins. A lot of things just happen. That somebody said I will be there for you. Let's say one uncle that loved you, say I will pay your school fees. And immediately he said that the next week his 7 containers on the high sea crashed and his business sank. He can never have it. You're already afraid. He did not keep the promise. He wasn't there, maybe in shame. He couldn't come back to you. He was trying to find his own life. Even if you're logically, you know that it is not his fault that he couldn't train you. You are thinking that if I had gone to university, I would have a better chance in life. But I was abandoned. Not really. The human mind can be very logical. You have to drag it back and make it logical.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And I see I think it's Ahmed that was saying that each of this in fact I saw it, and she said there should be a part 2. I don't know if you saw that. I was just thinking that each of these points on here should be a topic on its own, should be an episode on its own, because we can just fit into 45 minutes what we can do, and I guess we'll see how it goes. But before we round up today, Chiaka, I just wanted to give us a brief just tell us how to heal. If you're experiencing all this, how do you heal? How do you be a better person? How do you deal with your yesterday so your tomorrow is better than your today?
So there are a couple of things, irrespective of where trauma is coming from and what kind you are facing, and then what you are exhibiting as a consequence of that trauma. You will need to do a couple of things. The first one is, let's find the wound. Where are you bleeding? Do you understand? So, for example, somebody has been in a road traffic accident. They bring him into the hospital. They check to see if he has any wounds externally. No, then they try to scan his body, check. Is there internal bleeding? Let's stop the bleeding first. So first, let's acknowledge it. What is the problem? What is the problem? I need to trace this. You can do it yourself. You need to do a lot of self-reflection. I encourage anybody listening, what have been the usual complaints? What are 15 people complain? Don't say that's the way I am. That's what toddlers say. What do people complain about? What are your triggers, as we say? What are the little things people do, and then you just flip. And I encourage you to take note of these things. If you are unable to do it by yourself, which you may be unable, seek feedback from those who love you, your spouse, your friends, your siblings. I know a couple of people in my life that can tell me that, Shaka, this one is not okay. This one, you need to calm down on this, or you are doing this too much, or you are doing that too much, or you're being in this season of your life, you're a little bit too angry. Some people are angry. Like my friend once told me, that's an old friend of mine. Can you hear me? A friend once told me that, Chaka, I'm depressed. Chaka, I'm so depressed. I'm like, you're not depressed until you're broke. Financial depression. It's like, it's true, I'm broke, it's true, right? So let's find the wound. That's number one. I encourage you to journal. Now let me explain this one this is a consequence of reminiscing or seeing what patterns are. I encourage you to journal your memories. Journal your feelings. And then journal your reactions. Let me give you an example. So I said that a memory, I remember that when I was still in primary school, armed robbers came to my street. It was very traumatic, but they didn't get him. I felt afraid, my feelings, terrified even. Now till today, if I live in certain kind of environment, I feel afraid. If I don't feel like the security around me is top notch, it triggers feelings of fear. What do I do? It makes me snappy. Sometimes I'm short-tempered, and then I'm extra careful. I check the doors and windows twice. I walk around. I mean, I'm just like a security crazy person. Those are my reactions. It's when I know what I'm doing. It's when I remember how I got here, how I feel, like what I'm currently doing. I can now slide into what can I do better. Okay, then the next thing I talked about, the trauma. Underneath trauma unleashes fear of a humongous dimension. But let me tell you also that there are other underlying traumas. For example, underlying emotions. What I want you to do next is to acknowledge your emotions. For example,
Yeah,
let's say,
honest. Be honest with yourself about yourself, because
yes. So acknowledge your real emotions.
Yeah, go on.
So what, for example, let's say two people marry who are not educationally at par. One has finished high school or secondary school, and the other has a master's degree. Now, one says, I want to do my PhD. The other one says, for what? Are you not tired of going to school? He sounds angry, or he's actually afraid that people will laugh at him. People will say she's too good for him. He will feel like it. And this is a real story. I heard this, maybe almost 15 years ago. I heard a pastor share the story of a couple. He's afraid that when she goes to school, she will meet all those big people that speak big English, that's smarter than him, and she won't love him again, or she won't like him and respect him. She won't take him seriously. Meanwhile, when they got married, she had a master's degree and he had his school certificate. She didn't see a problem. But now he's extra afraid. If he has this PhD now, she will not like me again. She will not even take me seriously. That's how he's really afraid. And he's also jealous that everybody will be looking at her and he will be a wallpaper. Thankfully, the wise person who counseled them asked him, do you want to go to school? He said yes, but it's too late. And the man, I said, why do you think it's too late? He said he's too old. The pastor said, no, it's not too old. If you want to go to school, you can still go to school. He said that the man leaped up in excitement. He was like, really?
Wow.
Yes. And so they entered school together. He started his BSc part-time, and she was doing her PhD, and he was so excited. In fact, they snapped pictures together with matriculation. So you need to uncover what it is that you are feeling. You keep saying you don't like your stepsister. Are you jealous of the fact that she's prettier than you and she's gotten all the attention, or she's the favorite child? We need to have this. What is it that you are feeling? You see, so when people say things like it's not emotionally available, no, it's actually not afraid to step into the light. Like Beauty said to the beast, step into the light. Step in front of the mirror and see what is happening. Next, I encourage you, please don't go alone. You need a support system for healing from trauma. If you've got a great spouse who is smart, who knows what they're doing, please, if not, find a friend, find a trusted person in your circle. Please don't tell the people that social media is their diary. I'm saying this in 2024 because now, hello, I have Whitlow. Next thing, Instagram update. My friend has Whitlow on her left thumb. What do you people think my friend can do? She is 5'6". She's from Ibibio and Akwa Ibom State, but I will hide her name.
Yes. All right, Chiaka, we need to go. We need to round this.
Okay. So I'll just say 3 more things. Counseling, individually for you, and then as a couple that affected your marriage, very important. Get professional help.
Can we commit in the part 2 of this, Chiaka? Because obviously now we are everything. Please, because I see the comments, people are saying that there really need to be a part 2. So can we commit to doing a part 2 and we just continue from? Because the healing is very, very important. We can't just come and just solve the issues and not really delve deep into how you can be a heal. So can we please just we'll chat and now we'll go off and then we'll fix the dates that work for the both of us to do a part 2 of this. Please,
don't worry.
All right,
that's fine.
You. Because even I don't think we extended it to an hour, but I don't think an hour is even enough. Yeah. So
when I saw your point, I said each of these is a 1 hour teaching. Like if I think emotional disconnection 1 hour, fear of abandonment 1 hour, anything is a 1 hour teaching, each of them.
Yeah. And I think when we come in for the part 2, we'll just maybe pick a few of these things, delve deeper into it, and then how to heal and all that. Because, part 2, because it was only brushed. We need a solution to the problem. Yes, we will do that. We will communicate and then schedule a date for the part 2. I don't think it's going to be next week, Tuesday, Saturday. I'll be on a retreat. And then the Saturday after that, maybe but it's Easter, you know, the way Easter and festive season is. So yeah, we will talk. I will bring her back. We'll talk and then we'll figure out a date for us to continue. But I want to thank you so much, Chiaka. Every time you come, it's fire, fire.
Thank
I think
you.
that most times when we come, we're always like, there need to be a part two. Have you noticed? We're always like, we need to do a part two of this. There needs to be a part two. That's a testament to how full, let me use that word, you are. And you know, yes, wisdom. Yes, that's Chiaka for you. And we thank God for you. We bless God for his grace upon your life. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll bring you back. Maybe it will be the first Saturday of April, but we'll talk about it if that works for you. So
We'll just talk about it.
Yes, please. All right. Thank you all for
Thank
everyone
you so
that's here, everyone that joined. Thank you, Chiaka. God bless you for spending your time with us this afternoon. It means a lot to us. That it's not just me and Chiaka sitting here and just looking at ourselves and shaking our heads, you know. Thank you so much for joining. My name still remains Odun Akerele, and we'll talk and then we'll let you know when we conclude this topic of trauma. I don't think we can ever conclude it, but we are just going to be, you know, to do the best that we can to know, to see how to help each other. Thank you so much. God bless you. Until the next time. When I'll keep you in my prayers. And please, if you're going through something that you need someone to talk to, like Chiaka just mentioned briefly, look for someone you can trust and that you are comfortable with to open up. But first and foremost, the opening up actually has to start to do with you. Stand in front of the mirror and be honest with yourself. Why am I this way? Why do I react this way to this particular thing? You know, when she was talking, I always tell you guys, I don't sit here and fool myself. When she was talking, I was asking myself a particular question that, you need to figure out why you reacted to this thing like this. Because I was thinking, and I'm always reacting like that to it, you know. And so while I was talking, I was telling myself that, okay, you need to be honest with yourself too and ask yourself why you react to this thing this way. So that's just me. I will always keep it real with you people. I don't pretend. You guys know me. So I'll see you again. It's more than an hour already. God bless you. Thank you so much, Chiaka.
Thank you.
Thank you all. See you when next you see me. Hopefully it won't be that long. Thank you.